Welcome to 44 on the Town. Entertainment news, what's trending, and much more.
Hi, I'm TM Powell. We're so glad you could join us here on 44 on the Town. Veronica's on vacation this week, so Tara and I will be filling in today with some very special guests. Right now, it's time for Entertainment Now with me, TM Powell, sponsored by Emerald City Comics. And we're unveiling a brand new The Four today, and the topic is very special to me. It's the 4 80s movies, and for a subject this big, I needed some help. So joining me on set with his own The Four is my fellow 80s movies fan, Drew Garabo from In Your Face with Drew Garabo, heard on 102.5 The Bone, weekdays from 12 to 3. Welcome back to the show.
Nanu, nanu.
I know. Now, we were talking before this, okay? You said, oh, I know my movies.
Yep.
You told me you changed this thing up 100 times.
My list has gone through so many different metamorphoses that I'm not even sure at this very moment which 4 films I'm going to pick, TM.
Well, the one good thing about it is we said you'd probably pick 4 that I loved that I didn't pick, and I'd probably pick 4 you loved that that you didn't pick, so it would work out perfect. Real quick, the rules, okay? It's got to be made in the 80s, released in the 80s, capture the 80s, take place in the 80s. So sorry, Stand By Me, Dirty Dancing fans, you're out.
Right.
Okay, you're the guest.
Yes.
What's your first pick?
Okay, number 1, the 80s movie for me, for my money, Cameron Crowe's vehicle, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The ultimate 80s film represents Valley Girls, surfers, metalheads, jocks, all across the board. The penultimate 1980s film.
In early 80s too, because I'm going
Yes.
to tell you, on my list, I don't have a lot of early 80s. And the only reason I kept Fast Times off of it is because the book was kind of written in the 70s, so it could easily be early 70s, but it does make it in there. It does capture everything. Spicoli, gave it Sean Penn, all kinds of other people too. Nick Cage is in it, Anthony
Forrest
Edwards.
Whitaker.
And much more serious. It
Yes.
is very serious. The book was much more serious. They kind of funnied up. But it's a serious movie. I totally dig it.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of RAPE, you got a little bit of Schmortion in there, you got all across the board, and fake Pat Benatar's all over the place.
Absolutely. Now, my pick would be coming in would be Revenge of the Nerds, okay? Now, I love Revenge of the Nerds. I love the Tri-Lambs. And what I said about this is you can't really make this today because nerds are cool these days.
Right.
I mean, nerds are not being persecuted like they were. But back in the 80s, I mean, if you had a computer, you were made fun of, computer camp. All these guys that were just persecuted by the jocks and just stereotypical 80s jocks, they turned around. Now they're ruling the world, just like they said they would in Revenge of the Nerds.
We are the champions.
Absolutely. And the other thing about nerds are some things you could not get away with, like sexual assault in the moon room, maybe some voyeurism. There's some things that wouldn't play well.
What's a frush?
Yeah, I know, but you think about it. They tried to remake this, and it just didn't work. It goes
Right.
to show you it needed to be left there. Okay, what's your next pick?
Okay, next pick was one that, to me, sums up the 1980s, and that is the Michael Douglas, Charlie Sheen movie, Wall Street.
Ah, see, when
Greed
you
is
brought this
good.
up, everybody was bringing up the comedy angle. I said, don't always think about the comedy. Think about Wall Street. Wall Street did not make it in for me, but it was very close. I will tell you, it was the 5th one to get in.
Yep.
Totally sums up the 80s.
Totally.
A certain type of people, that Wall Street, the greed is good, and just a spot-on, truthful movie. Probably one of Oliver Stone's best movies.
No doubt about it, and it's not one of my favorite movies, but when I flushed it through your very stringent criteria, I couldn't leave it off the list. It, to me, sums up the 80s.
Like I said, we're putting all these movies. It's really 8, people. I hate to tell you this. This is really 8, but I love it. So the 8 on the 80s, but great movie. My third, okay, like you said with you, not really one of your favorite movies, not really one of my favorite movies, but I'd be doing all the ladies of the 80s a disservice if I didn't put Pretty in Pink on this list.
Oh, I hate you.
Here's the thing about Pretty in Pink. You just look at it, it's just the eye test. Everything about it just screams the 80s. The music, her tacky clothes,
Farmer Fred,
closeted
16
Ducky,
candles.
closeted Ducky.
Try a little tenderness.
I mean, seriously, everything about it just screams. It has Harry Dean Stanton as a drunk, something we're known for the 80s. But the big thing has the Spader effect. The Spader effect is very perfect because he is a jerk yuppie, always playing the jerk yuppie. But it's not always the nicest story either, and it always gets billed as a comedy. That movie's a drama.
Right.
I mean, it has some funny parts. That movie's a drama.
And I know you didn't include soundtracks in it, but when you look at soundtracks from the 1980s, it does not get much more rich than Pretty in Pink.
Absolutely, and the soundtracks really don't exist anymore. And the other thing about Pretty in Pink is they almost changed the ending. If she was going to end up with Ducky, and they had her go with Blaine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that would have worked as well.
No way.
It has a nice ending, but it's not the nicest ending. They probably broke up a week later.
Yeah, and they could have taken off that whole Ducky finds the beautiful girl and gets with her.
Because we all know Ducky was a little confused.
Get out of here. Ducky's going to end up with Blaine, and we know it.
Absolutely, or Steph. No, Steph. He was very jealous of Blaine. It would have been Steph.
No doubt about it.
All right,
Great
what do you
pick.
got next?
All right, I hate you for picking that, by the way, because it just barely made the cutting room floor in my world. All right, next one. You ready for this?
Yeah.
I Must Break You. Rocky IV. What sums up the 1980s better than the U.S. versus the USSR? The speech at the end, the training, James Brown living in America. That's the 1980s,
And the thing about it is, I know it's not even your favorite Rocky.
Not
you
at
love
all.
Rocky III.
Yeah, but
just
that
like
one,
me, I love Rocky III.
Oh, because it has Mr. T.
Oh, Cold War is huge
Yep.
in the 1980s, and this was the rah-rah moment. He kills Apollo with James
Abs-
Brown singing Living in America.
Oh, please.
Now, speaking of Cold War, my next pick. This is something I talked to you about on your radio show.
I
before
know it already. Go ahead.
Red Dawn.
Absolutely.
Because I grew up 60 miles south of D.C. I thought I was going to die at any moment in the 80s, that the
Sure.
Russians were just going to nuke us. I really thought that's what was going to happen.
Yep.
It just sums it up, the fear of the Cold War. And really, there was a bully in the 80s that really could have taken us out.
Sure.
I'm not trying to be non-American pride or anything, but they were scary, and there was a lot of them. And they had big guns and big missiles.
For sure,
But
Wolverines.
it said, the alternate universe of Wolverines, and plus every kid, ran in their backyard going, Wolverines!
For sure.
So I love Red Dawn, and plus, big thing about the 80s, PG-13 movie.
First one.
First one ever. I know the Flamingo Kid was the first one to ever receive it. People always say it's the Temple of Doom. It's not. It's this one, and that changed everything in cinema moving forward in the 80s. We got to see boobies in PG-13 movies.
And I like that.
All right, what's your next pick?
All right, next pick. This is the final one. You ready for this?
Yep.
Crush Groove.
Oh my.
Fat Boys, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, the Beastie Boys before License to Ill, Def Jam Records, the story of how it came to be. The 1980s was where rap got its birth and where it became ubiquitous. And for me, a rap fan from the jump, that is a 1980s film.
I saw a lot of Break It on there.
Yeah.
I saw some Crush Groove. I was
Sure.
like, Crush Groove really does get it.
Oh, so
and if you're a
good.
music fan, it does capture it. You can never remake it
Nope.
today.
And Sheila E.
Yeah, Sheila E. But I cannot believe you left out my #1 pick for 80s movie, Ferris Bueller. You're my hero.
That
What
could
are
have
you
taken
doing?
place in the 90s or the 70s. That could have taken place anytime.
But the problem is they haven't been able to remake it. It captures everything. Every kid wanted to be Ferris Bueller after 1986.
Right.
It has musical montages. There's weird transitions that don't make any sense in it. I love Ferris Bueller.
Abe Froman, Sausage King of
This
Chicago.
is one of your favorite movies.
It is.
How could you forget it?
No question. When I flushed it through your very strict criteria, it did not make the cut for me. I thought, could this movie have been made in 1990 or 1991? Yes, it could have. Was it? No. Does it sum up the 80s for me? Yes. And for you and for everyone else? Sure. But if you were to watch that movie and not know what decade it came out in, it could easily have been made in 1979 or 1991 from my perspective.
Oh, I love Ferris. And another thing, the sight test, I look at it and I just think it screams the 80s in a time and a place. And also, he was kind of a nerd. He wasn't like really a jock. He was kind of a nerd and
Oh,
showed
yeah.
that culture change going.
Yep.
But great list. I love your list.
you too.
Like I said, 8 movies. I know we love it. And somewhere a cat named Mo is screaming, Valley Girl, Valley Girl,
Valley Girl did
Valley
not quite
Girl.
make the cut for me either. I had that. I had Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but the time travel thing took him out of the 80s.
Well, sorry, Mo. I hate to disappoint you again, but no Valley Girl. All right, well, check Drew out weekdays 12 to 3 on 102.5 The Bone. You can check out the 4 on CW44.com. This was a great time. Thank you so much, Drew, for coming out, and we'll be back with more 44 in the Town in a moment.
Entertainment Now with TM Powell. Brought to you by Emerald City Comics.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes has taken over the box office and Emerald City Comics. For all your Planet of the Apes items, stop by Emerald City Comics. They have new school and old school Planet of the Apes. They have trade paperbacks and all the things you're looking for concerning Planet of the Apes.
Comics, toys, games, artwork. Emerald City has everything a collector is looking for in a neat and organized atmosphere. Come see the pop culture explosion at the gigantic Emerald City Comics Superstore. They're open till 6 and Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m.